I think I can. I think I can address this one real quick. Ben in California, how are you?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, you're basically asking. You've heard me say that I don't have much of an opinion on Jesus' existence, and you're wondering why I don't just come out and say he didn't exist.
Yes.
Yeah, because claiming somebody did not exist is a statement that requires evidence to support it. And the fact that there isn't sufficient evidence to conclude that he did exist doesn't mean that you can conclude that he didn't. It's just like saying,
that's fair.
If the defendant is on trial and there's not enough information or there's not enough evidence to conclude that they're guilty, that does not mean that I can conclude that they're innocent or say that they're innocent.
On a personal level, do you believe that Jesus existed?
Yes.
Wow, with no evidence. And what about Moses?
Wow, I knew you were going to lose your shit over this. So first of all, I'm not saying, first of all, there's not no evidence, okay? If we look at it as just a man, as just a person with this name, or now, if you ask me, does the character in the Bible exist as written? My answer is no. Do I think there is a real person at the center of that? My answer is yes, and my answer is also yes, that there may be multiple people at the center of that. Not that there's any sort of reason to clearly believe in a Jesus of Nazareth individual, because we don't even have good information about names or anything else. But it's not extraordinary to say somebody existed and served as a foundation for a religion. What's extraordinary are the other claims about them.
Okay, can I ask you if any evidence that the Jews built the pyramids or crossed the desert?
I'm aware of no good evidence, and I'm aware of evidence to the contrary. Like there's not a mixing of languages and stuff. This is why when you get back to Finkelstein's book on the story of the Exodus, I don't think the Exodus actually ever happened. I don't think that Jews were ever enslaved in Egypt. There's countless things in the Bible that should have evidence for them, individual claims that don't. But and whether or not there was an actual Moses, or whether Moses was a figure that was an amalgamation or whatever, we have nothing outside of there in this history. So the thing that I'm saying I'm fine accepting is that there was probably a person or a collection of people at the center of this. I'm not saying, yes, I am affirming that Jesus of Nazareth, as depicted in the Gospels, was an extant historical figure. No, I think that can't be established beyond a reasonable doubt. But I'm fine with the notion. It doesn't matter to me. I'm fine with the notion that there's a person there. I'm not believing that this person performed miracles and was divine and did all this other stuff. This isn't a big deal.
Well, for you, it's not a big deal. But when I know that there's millions of people that believe in characters that there's no Moses, no evidence, Jesus, no evidence, pyramids were built by the Jews, no evidence, across the desert, no evidence. How can you have an argument with somebody if they can't, if you have nothing to stand on? There's no ground to stand on. And I don't understand how you can engage it with people. I'm amazed. I mean, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I'm not going to put my bong down. I want you to know that. But
okay, you're making sense. There are some people who can't make sense when they're on their bong. Here's the thing: you have Paul, who. Do you think Paul existed?
No.
Okay. Then I don't know what to tell you, because now you have departed from even the most batshit.
Well, because I don't have an education in that, and that's why I don't know. I mean, if you think Paul existed,
say I don't know.
Stop, Ben. The fact that you don't have an education in something doesn't mean that you can conclude somebody doesn't exist.
Okay, then that was not fair of me to say that, and I take it back. I'm sorry. You're right. You won me over. What can I say?
There you go. If you actually go do some research
on it. Probably existed.
If
there's evidence of someone existing, I believe.
If you go do some research, go read what Carrier has to say. Go read what Fitz has to say. Paul existed. That's just
okay.
There's not even the most batshit crazy historians suggest that Paul didn't exist, because we have writings.
Okay, you caught me. You caught me. I know nothing about that. I'm sorry.
And yet you're shocked that I would be too lenient. And yet every time you talk about Jesus, you say there's no evidence. Well, that's not true.
Because you've got evidence, obviously, that Paul existed.
And oh my God, Ben,
We switched the topic back to Jesus.
Now you keep saying there's no evidence for Jesus, and that's not true, because Paul is evidence in that he reports that he talked to the disciples who knew Jesus personally. Is it secondhand hearsay testimony? Yes, but you don't get to say it's not evidence. You can say it's not sufficient, but you don't get to say it's not evidence.
Really? So just because somebody says something, you're going to take that as evidence. So, like, aliens exist, the Earth is flat, blah, blah, blah.
Wow, Ben,
put
the fucking bong down for a second, because what I said,
the bong is down, actually.
What I said was, you can think that it's not sufficient evidence, but you don't get to say it's not evidence. Anecdotal evidence is evidence. When do you have a significant other?
I wish.
Okay. Have you ever had a significant other?
Yes.
Okay. When they come to you and tell you what happened during the day at work for them, do you believe them?
Yes.
Yeah. And if you came to me and told me that your significant other had a shitty day at work, do you think I'm going to believe you?
Yes, because we're just talking about something mundane. We're not talking about the existence of something that...
And when Paul is talking about how he met Peter and Peter talked to him about Jesus, that's all still mundane, because all they're talking about is whether a person that they interacted with. There's a difference between saying there's evidence, be it sufficient or not, that Jesus existed, and whether or not there's sufficient evidence that Jesus performed miracles. You need to be able to separate those two in your mind so that you don't sound like a loon or go out, but oh my God, I can't believe Matt thinks that Jesus existed. Matt doesn't think that Jesus was fucking magic.
Right.
That's it. I got one more call I got to get to. Now you can pick up the bong.
Train the Azdabbers.
Yep. Hit your bong, bro. All right.